You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
How do we do this, Taylor? How does one podcast? Am I speaking loud enough? What do I do with my hands? It's been so long. I don't know. How do we do this?
I thought, oh, Mike, am I going to call Mike and record him on my phone like I've been doing for the past six to 8 weeks? But no, you sent me the link. And so the audio will probably be better or not. It'll probably lag this episode because
that's our luck.
Yeah. Instead of it being like pristine audio this week when we're actually using the program that we should be using and the microphones we should be using, this will be the week where it sounds the worst it's been. But yeah, it's great to have you back, Mike.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I half expected when I pressed play to get the recording going that you would start just because you're so used to it. That you would do every single episode since I've been gone started the exact same way with you going, I think we're recording. The thing says we're recording. And I always thought I could cut that out, but no, I'll keep that in.
Because I always go to my guest 1, 2, 3, press record. And then I go, I think I'm recording because it doesn't do anything. The app, right. It doesn't beep or anything. You just see the audio, the lines, and I'm like, oh well, I'll hope for the best. And I guess I could have gone back and listened to episodes that we did, but I'm like, oh, how do we start the show? So every episode I'd say this is You Had Me at Skip It, but we have an intro where you say you're listening to You Had Me at Skip It. So I kind of just repeat You
know what's even funnier about that? Because when you say that you don't listen to any of our shows, which is true, you've said that before. You never listened to the show.
Now I have gone back and listened to a couple.
Okay.
Since switching over to the new format of the show. But anyways, Continue, Mike. Continue.
It's not me who says you're listening to You Had Me at Skip It. It's you. You're the voice of the intro.
But okay, so I know I say you're listening to a Soul One podcast.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, but I don't say this is You Had Me at Skip It. I just say you're listening to a Soul One podcast.
Yeah. I never say this is You Had Me at Skip It either, though. If you any of the episodes, I just start talking. I just assume if you're listening to this episode, you know what podcast you're listening to. I don't have to say what the name is. That was back from our radio days, right? Because when we were on the radio, you had to say that. You had to say what episode, what are you watching?
That must be what I just assumed was that I say you're listening to a Soul One, then there's the intro music. And then because the old show, you would say you're listening to Screening in Kingston. So I assumed this show also has that intro. So I guess I guess it was good that I was telling our listeners what they were listening to. 2 to 3 years of listening to You Had Me at Skip It, and they probably thought they were still listening to Screening in Kingston.
But you know what I mean, though. It's a podcast. People have to know the name of the show. People can't be that confused.
Who's doing podcast roulette?
That would be fun. Now there's an idea.
The algorithm's just spitting out podcasts to you, and you're like, okay.
People would discover more podcasts that way. That would be kind of a cool thing.
That is interesting. Mike, so do you want to tell our listeners why you have not been present / where you're disappearing to again? Because you're only really gracing us with your presence. The 3 listeners we have left after this 6 to 8 week hiatus. Please tell us where you've been. What have you been doing?
Yeah, this is a quick return. I'm not fully back yet, but that is coming. I just let's be clear on that. I will be returning to the show full time April 16th ish,
Yes, that week.
somewhere around there, that week at least, whenever our show comes out. I don't even know. So I'll be returning then. But yes, I've been away. And Taylor, this is the thing. I didn't know what I was going to say to come back to kind of let people know where I've been, but you covered it in a fantastic way. You kept telling people that I was on an artistic sabbatical.
Yes.
So that was how you worded it. And I think that's a great way to phrase it. Yeah, I've been directing a show in Ottawa. It opens in April on April 11th and runs to the 19th. That's why the week of the 16th I'll be back, because once the show opens, the director just steps away and says, we're done. I don't have to do anything
Pause.
anymore.
Pause real quick, Mike. That to me is a little bit. I realize it's not like a movie where you can like cut and then you fine tune. But I would have thought as a director, you would want to be there every night so that afterwards you can yell at the cast when they went wrong.
In theater, the tradition has always been once the show opens, no more notes. So
It's
once
not
you
your
get to
baby
opening,
anymore.
yeah, like once you get to opening night, it's really the stage manager's show.
Got
And the
it.
cast and the stage manager, they're supposed to do the show the same way every night. Now it's live
Okay.
theater, things happen, etc. But you're supposed to do it the same every night. So as a director, you are really supposed to move on because certainly in professional theater you've moved on to your next gig. That's the thing for
Oh,
people who are
okay.
full-time directors. Like, I'm lucky enough to have another job in theater that I don't do the contract game where it's like you go from contract to
Right.
contract to contract. Usually the reason why that was happening was a director would have to move on to their next gig, because otherwise you have several weeks without work if you're just
So,
watching your show happen.
will you watch any of them?
Oh yeah, I'll be there for opening night.
Okay.
Absolutely. Opening, you do like opening weekend, and I'll definitely be around. Probably because this is a show that has a multi-week run. It's always nice to make an appearance at the beginning of week 2, just to kind of get back into the swing of things after having a few days off. And I'll definitely go see the show when people I know go to see it. If anyone I know is seeing the show, I'll try to be there. I'll try to see the show, but I don't have to be there
I
every
would
night. You
would
know?
hate that because I would just be leaning, like looking over to the person the whole time, being like, "How
Oh,
are
it's
they
terrible.
reacting?"
Yeah, it's terrible. That's why I prefer just not to watch it all. Like, I was always a nervous director, even in my Blue Canoe days. I almost never watched opening night because I was just too nervous. So I'd be up in the tech booth, or I'd be occupying myself doing something. But then I would watch, the subsequent shows just to kind of, see what the show is. But essentially, my job ends come the show opening. Like, there's nothing else to do. I've given my notes. I've worked on the show. I've worked on tech. Everything's together. So it's coming up real soon. And it's one of those things that I think when you direct something and you dive into it, you always feel this great feeling of release and relief. And the stepping away is needed and wanted, because you've poured a lot into it. You've put a lot of
Sure.
yourself into directing it, and I think I'm looking forward to that. So that's why I thought, even though my show's running that week, I thought that would be a great time to return to the podcast anyway, because frankly, I'm not going to be doing anything that I have to be anywhere those evenings. So why not come back to the show? So a few more weeks that I'll be away, but Taylor, I can't resist coming back to talk about the Oscars. I can't do that. I can't resist. I have to
Mostly
talk about the
because
Oscars,
mostly because I need you to count the ballots.
which I have done, and uh, quite an interesting race this year, as always.
Before
I
before
just
I just want to interject real quick, Mike, because as you were talking about the theater, and we are moving away the theater
mhm.
and moving towards movie, but as you were talking, it made me think of this really interesting question. And because we're heading into our Oscar review, would you be, if you directed film or even acted in film, would you be one of the directors or actors who don't watch their movies back? Because
No.
there are. I feel
As
like
an
there's.
actor, maybe, but not as a director.
You would watch the movie and like you would be at
I
the
think so. I think so. Just because I think when you're a director, I do know, like, it's really hard to watch it back. It's really hard to kind of enjoy it. But yeah, I think I would. I think as an actor, though, that's a different thing. Like when you're watching yourself on like stage or screen or like a recording or something, it's actually really hard to watch yourself. Like I find it hard. I don't know
Yeah.
how you found listening to the show, Taylor, when you have, but I do find listening to myself talk can be tough.
It could be
Whether I start
cringe, but also
critiquing it or yeah.
I do laugh listening back to us. I'm like, wow, we're funny.
We are funny. We are, as you know, we are a comedy. We're listed many places as a comedy podcast, and we didn't give us that listing. So, you know.
We're funny, and I can't help but smile when sometimes when I listen to us. As a, again, as you were talking, I'm thinking maybe that's not true about directors. I definitely hear that about actors who are like, I don't
Oh,
watch my
actors all
work.
the
It's
time.
so
All the time.
embarrassing,
Yeah.
which is like fair. Like I agree. Like um, I don't even like listening to my voice. So like I wouldn't want to see myself on screen, but I do write a lot for my job. And even sometimes, maybe I have a pithy Instagram story
Mm.
and I am guilty of reading back my own work. Not because I'm editing, not just being like, wow, I wrote that. Sometimes even like
Mm.
really good emails, Mike.
Sure.
Yeah. So I
Well,
feel I feel like
I will
that's
say
kind of
for
closer
writing,
to a
though,
director. That's closer
yeah,
to what a director
yes,
would be like.
I would agree, and I think for writing and stuff that is something that you do have to get a little used to. I think, like I mean, I think for a lot of the types of jobs, Taylor, that you and I have, we're constantly writing things to people.
Hmm.
So you have to be comfortable with your own use of text and your own writing skills, and I think you have to get used to that. I actually think you're right. That is closer to what directing would be. So
Yeah.
Taylor, you probably would be able to watch some like a film you directed back because I think it's closer to that. But I agree, like I would have a hard time watching myself on screen, and I
And
think that that's something that a lot of actors feel.
I would not want to watch it with my friends and family.
No, no.
Not for me.
I,
Hard pass.
I, I just, yeah, it would be, it is tough. And that's one of the things about, sometimes people, when they come to see your show, they want to see you there. So sometimes I
Sure.
might not sit in the audience with them, but I'll go in the tech booth or I'll wait in the lobby. Like I'll be around the theater space. And then be able to greet them at intermission and talk to them and that type of thing. But typically, I try to see my own show maybe twice. And then I used to, when I was younger, I used to do one backstage show where I would like help the stage crew backstage, even though I've directed it, just to be part of that atmosphere again.
Right.
But I don't do that as much anymore because who has time for that, Taylor?
You're old.
Exactly. Like
You paid your dues.
I have paid my dues, and I just go home. Like there's no
Fair
reason for
enough.
me to be here. I'm just gonna go home.
I love that for you. I think
Yeah.
like 2026, the year of Mike saying no to things.
Yeah, and it's worked out somewhat well. But I
It's
think
only
I
it's
think
only March.
it's only March. It hasn't been a full year, but I do think at the end of the day, um, I'm glad I direct when I can. It's something I hope to continue to do, but I really wish I would pick better timing to direct things. Taylor, that's the thing I keep learning is wouldn't it be great to just be able to direct stuff when life isn't also very busy and things are going on? That would be
I
great.
know, but I work with people who are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't do XYZ. It's such a busy time." And I'm like, "Okay, it's always a busy time. You can only use that
Yeah.
excuse." So
That
like,
is that's very true though.
yeah,
When is there a good
there
time for me?
isn't. So you
Yeah.
either need better time management skills or you have to say no to things. That's not like a critique to you directly, Mike. That's just like
No, no.
advice out to the world. There's never going to not be a busy time in your life. So you either need to start having a better day planner or you need to start saying no to things. And I think that's
Yeah,
healthy.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with that. One of the things that, I guess we kind of alluded to, brought me back to the show
Yes.
was being able to talk about the Oscars, right?
Uh-huh.
Like that's just something that I'm like, I want to talk about the Oscars. I want to be able to talk about it. and what was interesting about this year was me, being so busy. It was hard to catch all the Oscar movies. This is the first year that I went into it with only about 50% of the best pictures that I was able to see, which kind of
Interesting.
sucks. This is the first time that's ever happened to me. Um, and it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, how's that going to hurt me in the Oscars pool? Because I do vote kind of strategically. I'm like, okay, what am I hear
Right.
is doing well, not my own personal choices. And yeah, so it was a very interesting Oscars pool to watch from a distance. Even though I haven't been here for the past few weeks, I've been collecting these ballots, and as you mentioned, Taylor, I did all the math, so it's all ready to go. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion, I think, this time around.
I think it was Nicole. I said this to, it might have even been Katie. I every year go into the Oscar ballot very apprehensive. And I think literally every year I say this is my worst year. Like I have no
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm.
I went in very uneasy to this Oscar pool thinking that it was kind of a tight race, like, or not even a tight race, like it felt almost like a wild card year. And then I saw the nominations because I wasn't able to watch this year, unfortunately. Um, so in the morning I was able to see the winners and I thought, oh, I think I did okay, but now I'm worried because you did the math. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm living in delusions. But I felt
From
I
what Yeah, from what I gathered in terms of the lead up to the Oscars, just the point you made about things being wide open, that is the sense I actually got was this of the past couple years and of all the years we've done this Oscars pool, the Oscars race itself has been more wide open than it
it
usually
felt
is.
like it could have
Like
been
there was,
anyone
it could have been anybody. There was a lot of discourse around it, and even in
except
the
Marty
way
Supreme. It could have been anyone but Marty Supreme. But we'll get into that,
you
Mike.
okay, we can discuss that. Our fans, as they went through and voted, it was also kind of split in a lot of areas. Now we
Oh,
still had a lot of ties, but we had a greater difference, and more diversity in each of the selections as opposed to in each category. It's like, oh, you know, nine people, 20 people said this, nine people said this, and one person said this. It was like a lot more spread out.
right.
So that's one of the things that we'll kind of talk about a little bit here. We do that every year, is just talking about what exactly, the Oscars pool voting was like and what the trends were, because it is interesting. It's very fascinating to see. There's actually only three categories that in the entire selection from us that had, almost a universal selection, and that was, best actress, best animated feature, and best makeup and hairstylings. Those are
Yeah.
the only three categories. That was almost, it was like over 90%, to
I
one thing. Almost
to
everything else was like the maybe 50-50. Like it was pretty spread out.
to me, those three categories I felt the most confident in. Or at least like
Yeah.
what whoever I don't know if I necessarily voted correctly. Um, but the winners, I'm like, yeah, those felt pretty like confident winners. And then everything else
Yeah.
I felt like everything else was a bit of a toss up between Sinners and One Battle After Another. Like it was gonna
Those
be either or.
yeah. Those seem to be the big ones for most of the like production categories and technical categories. I think those were the front runners in terms of they were two of the better films I think that people thought of the year. The Academy really seemed to like them. I think there were a lot of good storylines around those. There was a few things I was surprised at. Like I'll admit, you know, I didn't think Frankenstein would get as many nominations as it did. I know it didn't win a lot, but it did win an Oscar. It's not like it was
Yeah.
completely shut out. It won, I think, two, in the whole evening. So that was just one that surprised me. I know you saw it and you liked it, but I just didn't think Frankenstein was going to be looked at in the same way as some of these other more prestige films.
I thought it was gonna get a lot of the technical nominations.
Right, right. That's what
But
you think.
like
Yeah,
in
kind of like
terms of
F1, which got like a lot of
yeah,
technical ones. Yeah,
the sound editing and stuff.
yeah,
So I don't know. I thought like I think Frankenstein's one of those movies where it was good. Like it was a technically good film. Like I mean technically in the sense of like how it was crafted. but it'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see if 10 years from now people are like, oh, Del Toro's Frankenstein is my favorite movie. I don't know. I think it's one of those movies that will probably get lost down the line, but what are you gonna do? Not every
Yeah.
movie can be, a historic. Although speaking of historic, this was a bit of a historic Oscars because horror as a genre
Hmm.
performed very well, including Frankenstein. Um, you could even argue that, well, Begonia is kind of like a sci-fi, but Begonia, Frankenstein,
Hmm.
Sinners, Weapons, all horror movies all had numerous nominations and awards across the board. So it was a bit of a
Yeah,
historic year in that sense.
which
I
is
think
great. Yeah.
this is the first time, and I could be wrong, Mike, so you might have to fact check me on this. This is the first time since Rosemary's Baby that a horror a horror movie won best supporting actress.
Yeah, I
Does
think
that
there
sound make
was.
made up, or is that true?
Thought there was one more since then that was honored, but there's also sometimes a debate as what you would classify as a horror movie.
Right.
But I think there was one more that came after Rosemary's Baby that kind of got this level of recognition. Um, so yeah, I know I know it's still been a long time. It's not as though that movie was like for whatever the other movie I'm thinking of was 4 years ago. It was still like
Yeah.
30, 40 years ago. Like it's been a long, long time since
Okay,
horror's been recognized.
here's an article from Bloody Disgusting, Mike. So I don't know if this is a reputable a
I mean,
reputable
it doesn't
outfit.
sound great, but go ahead.
I think it's a horror like a horror movie magazine. But again, I don't know how reputable this is. But this headline says only 6 horror movie performances have ever won Oscars. 2 more just joined the small list. And so maybe we'll wait to announce
Hmm.
who's joined the list, but just
Right.
very quickly, best actor in a leading role, Frederick March in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's 1932. And then we don't see it again until 1969. This was the one I was referring to. Best actress in a supporting role, Ruth Gordon for Rosemary's Baby.
Hmm.
Best Actress in a Leading Role, Kathy Bates for Misery in
Ah,
1991. Best
Misery. That
Actress
movie was
in a
great.
Leading Role, Jodie Foster, Silence of the Lambs. That movie is just
Hmm.
one of my favorite movies, phenomenal. And then in that same year, Best Actor in a Leading Role, which is goes down in movie trivia because should Anthony Hopkins been nominated for best leading role? I think he holds one of the records, if not the record, for shortest screen time
The least amount of
and
screen time. Yeah.
and getting the Oscar. So Anthony Hopkins, Silence of the Lambs, actress in a leading role, Natalie Portman in Black Swan. I hated Black Swan. Nicole's gonna come for me. I don't think she deserved the Oscar for that
Is
movie.
Black Swan really a horror movie though? I would. I mean, it's certainly a
Thriller.
thriller. Yes, but I think thrillers and horror movies are two different things. Sinners is a horror movie, but
Yeah, one hundred
and that
percent.
also has thriller elements to it. But still, I would say Sinners and Black Swan are two completely different films
Yeah, I
and
agree.
different types of films. So that's
And
how I
then
would to that.
the last two, Mike, are we'll hear about it today in the review, and then some other movies. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but so other performances. Which other horror performances have been nominated for Oscars? So those were the wins. Other movies that are represented who have been nominated but haven't won. These movies include Psycho, The Exorcist, Carrie, Aliens, The Sixth Sense, Get Out, and The Substance, which all, yeah, that makes sense, but it all very good movies. We should see more. So I'm hoping that we continue to see horror. I hope this is the tide
Yeah.
has changed, Mike, and it's about time our genre starts getting a little bit of respect.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And it was great to see both Sinners and Weapons get some nominees, get some wins, both be recognized. Both I would argue both of them in other years would not have gotten this level of attention.
No.
because of genre, and it was really nice to see. Also worth noting that I believe it was we had the first ever female cinematographer win for best cinematography, which was another like really
For
cool
the
milestone
Sinners, correct?
for Sinners. For
Yeah.
Sinners, yeah, yeah. So like that again, that's another like really great thing, and the fact again that Sinners of all movies, which normally I think might not even been nominated, so to see a win there was really great. And I mean, yeah, Sinners also, to be fair, had some heavy hitters behind the camera as well as in front, so you can understand it getting some attention. But I just think Sinners and Weapons are examples of it doesn't really matter the genre of movie you have. You can just make a fantastic movie. You can have a superhero movie nominated for these kinds of awards. We've seen that with Christopher Nolan, right? Like we've seen that with filmmakers who just pour into it more and make it their own. Frankenstein being nominated, like these kinds of more genre fantasy, horror, superhero movies getting nominated. F1, which, fast car, you can, it's not really necessarily an action movie, but it's similar to Top Gun Maverick
Sure.
than it is to some of the movies you normally see. So yeah, I do think it's good. I think the Oscars have really opened their minds as voters, the Academy, as to who could be nominated and where. And yeah, as we'll go through some of the winners like we normally do before we get to our pool, we'll see that like yeah, it was great to see some different films and different genres be represented, which is really great.
Excellent. All right. Do you have the list up, Mike? Do you want to
I
start going
do.
through it?
Yeah.
Also,
So I've
did
got
you,
the.
before we get into the nominees very quickly, like I mentioned, I wasn't able to sign on to stream the Oscars this year. The login kind of changed and it was too late in the day for me to troubleshoot. But were you able to watch on cable? Did you watch it live?
I had to record it. I watched kind of the, I would say, final 45 minutes of the ceremony because I got home from rehearsal. But I did go back and to at least watch Conan's opening. I had to see how Conan did. That was like the thing, right? Like I went back to watch Conan's opening and his opening monologue. But in terms of the actual show, I probably watched about 45 minutes of the actual ceremony, and
Right.
then got caught up on who I missed, which I saw. I think I came in around the K-pop Demon Hunters singing the song, like not them winning, but you know how they were doing. Went back to letting the songs be
Yeah, the
performed
music
that are open.
performances.
Yeah, that was the music performance that I started around then, and then there were still like 6 or 7 categories to go. So I saw some of the kind of the ones that they saved to the end of the night, which was good.
Was the Conan, I think, hosted last year, and I saw a
Yep.
headline that the Oscar says he has the gig as long as he wants it.
Yeah, I think they're very happy with Conan. I've been on this show. We've been doing this Oscar pool for since we've been doing this show. Really, it's been
At
nine,
least 7
7. How many
years.
years? Yeah, 7 years of us doing these Oscar pools. And Conan is the exact kind of host I think works for the Oscars. Like I've said it time and time again. Jimmy Kimmel, Conan O'Brien, these are the kinds of hosts you want. Like Stephen Colbert should be given an opportunity. Seth Meyers, like all these late night talk show hosts, they have the skills to do this, and this is who you should have. And I think Conan did a great job. Very funny. His humor is a little, I would say, weirder and stranger than someone like Jimmy Kimmel, who you kind of like. I think you kind of understand Jimmy Kimmel's humor a little better than you would with Conan. But I like Conan O'Brien. I like his humor. I listened to his podcast. I thought he did a really good job. I could totally understand why the Oscars say it's yours if you want it. I think he's the right personality for this gig.
Okay, cool. All right, so why don't you start
All
rattling
right.
off?
Yeah, we'll get some winners here. We'll just go through a couple winners, and we'll just kind of give our thoughts on it. So I thought I would just kind of stick some categories together. So I'll rattle off the 4 major acting winners first, and
Sure.
then Taylor, maybe we can just talk about them.
Cool.
So winning Best Supporting Actress was Amy Madigan from Weapons.
Hmm.
Winning Best Supporting Actor was Sean Penn from One Battle After Another. Winning Best Actor was Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Best Actress Jessie Buckley from Hamnet, which Jessie Buckley was one of the ones that over 90% of our Oscar pools selected to win. That seemed to be a slam dunk, at least according to our fans.
I think according to award season, she just was swooping up award after award. I'm not surprised at all by this category. I felt like best supporting actor could have gone anyway, and I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um Michael B. Jordan, I think, was a favorite for Sinner, so again, not surprised.
Definitely
And
a
then
favorite, but I think there was still a little bit of an uncertainty as to like where it was going to go, because at least I was still hearing Leonardo DiCaprio's name. I was
okay,
hearing like a little bit of that, but I think he was like the front runner, but I still
right.
heard some other names in our Oscars pool. It was pretty split. Like I don't
Like
think people knew who to vote for in this
50-50
one.
or like by quarters.
Um, no, like even less than that. So, Timothy Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan had the most votes, and it was just over 30% for both of them.
Huh.
And then every other nominee got at least like 4 votes or something like that. Like it was pretty
That's interesting to me.
close. Yeah. It was really spread out. This was probably one of the more spread out categories where
Right.
there's not a clear winner, because even Timothy Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan, it's like really close between them and
I
like the
don't
next
see.
one. So,
I
yeah.
Timothy Chalamet, whatever. Um, talked about this the last couple episodes leading up to the Oscars. He just torpedoed his chances of winning. Like I would have
Mm,
been shocked considering that, the last 3 or at least 2 major award shows, Marty Supreme got 0 awards.
mm-hmm.
Um so I would have been shocked. So I'm all that to me is a little bit shocking that our audience, God love them, they were rooting for old Timmy there. They were being more
Mm-hmm.
optimistic than I was.
Did you vote for Michael B. Jordan? Like, is that what you thought was going to win?
I think so. I think I did.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
looked, to be quite honest, I gamed the system, Mike, because this year, because I really had no idea which way things were going to go, the discourse seemed to be like pretty equally weighted. I looked at whatever the last major um award show was. It might have been like the SAGs, like whatever came out right before the Oscars. And I looked at who won in all of the categories. And I'm pretty sure I just picked, like, I duplicated those results on my ballot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting because I do think those can be a good preview. Sometimes the Oscars go like in a different direction,
Oh,
but
yeah, for
yeah, it's
sure.
interesting. It's interesting how in these acting categories, like in our Oscars pool, like the only one people were sure on seemed to be Jessie Buckley. Like even both supporting um, votes here, I'm just looking kind of at the statistics. It was pretty spread out. Like Amy Madigan got a lot of votes, but like Tiana Taylor got a bunch, Elle
Mm.
Fanning got a bunch. So I think there was just some thoughts. And again, in Best Supporting Actor, the person with the most votes in our Oscar pool was Stellan Skarsgård. Like
I might have voted
that
for
one got
Stellan's.
us.
I might have
Yeah,
voted for Stellan. Um,
I think that got us. You know what
Kier,
I mean? Like that steered us in a direction.
Kieran Culkin gave the award or accepted the award on behalf of Sean Penn, and there's a little bit maybe he didn't ruffle feathers, but there was a little bit of discourse that he said, I'm accepting the award on behalf of Sean Penn because he couldn't be here or he didn't want to be.
Well, listen,
I mean, either way, who cares?
yeah. Anyway, who cares? I mean, one of the things that I will say is there are different awards levels to things, right? And the Oscars are obviously like the most prestigious of film. Like there are awards and stuff for theater. If I was nominated for something, Taylor, I got to be honest, I really don't think I would go. Like I just, regardless if I
Oh,
think I was going to win or lose, it's just not something I'm necessarily interested in. So I don't know. I could kind of understand not the sentiment of not going. I don't know why Sean Penn did. I'm
I
really
have no idea.
disconnected on that. I don't know any of the discourse around anything, but yeah, it's interesting to me that he didn't go, but that does happen every so often where someone's not there for some reason.
That poses an interesting question, Mike, because I loathed going to my graduations. Like all my
Yeah, yeah.
graduations, I had to do 3 university graduations. And it was mostly because like my friends or like my family were like, you got to do it, whatever. So yeah, you'd think that I'd say, oh, I'm definitely not going to the Oscars. But there is something so still romantic and glamorous about the Oscars, Mike, that even if I knew I wasn't gonna win, I would still like want to put on the dress, get my
You'd
hair
want to be
done,
there,
get
right?
my makeup
Yeah,
done, like just to
yeah.
experience it. But maybe I'd like dip from the yeah. I don't know if I would want to go to the award show, but I would go to the red carpet and like maybe the after party.
Yeah, it's so hard for me to know exactly how I would feel in kind of each situation, but I know myself enough to know that unless there was a secondary thing going on that was associated with the awards thing, I probably wouldn't go. Like there was something else. It's like, oh, and it's screening this thing that's part of it, and then there's awards
Right.
after or whatever. Then that might get me out there. But yeah, I've never been a big fan of awards. I think, and I want to be perfectly clear, I think doing awards and competitions in the arts is not only healthy, it's really good. I know it's difficult to choose best art, and that's sort of weird thing, but I think it's good to be held to some kind of a standard and have something to achieve, because otherwise arts just end up out there doing whatever they want. I just don't think I'm the type of person that wants to sit through one of these nights. Is sort of kind of
Yeah, because
more
it's
what I'm
kind of like
thinking.
high
So
school. It's like a high school graduation.
yeah,
Like
and I'm not
whatever.
interested in high school or graduations or anything. Like I'm just not interested. Honestly, I'd rather sit at home and watch a movie. Like I would just rather
Yeah,
do that.
I just want the pretty dress and the makeup.
No, you can still do that. Moving on to just listing a few more winners before we get to the big reveal of our
Ooh.
Oscar winners. I like to tease this as long as I can. So, Best Director went to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. I don't know if Katie Wilson has strong feelings, positive or negative, about that, but
She
you know,
she um she thought way back in the summer that that was an Oscar contender, and so
hmm.
I'm sure she is patting herself on the back.
Big winner in a lot of production categories too, because best editing
Mhm.
also went to One Battle After Another. In addition to sort of the acting roles, best adapted screenplay was One
Yep.
Battle After Another. The best casting award, which was the weird new one that I still don't know if we all understand, because I don't know if anyone in the Oscars pool got this right. Maybe one or two people. It was very. This was another category. Yes, Sinners, Hamnet, Marty Supreme all got more votes than One Battle After Another in
Well,
our
it's just like an
voting.
ensemble cast. Like who like
That's what I was thinking. When I
it
voted, that's what I was thinking. It's like an ensemble.
I think it's ensemble, but all of those movies, as far as I knew, had good ensembles.
Yeah.
So I
I
don't
think I
know.
voted for Sinners. I thought that made the most sense, but
That's what they mean,
what do
right?
I know?
Because when you say casting, are they just
Best
saying like,
casting. I think they mean like
oh,
the best well casted movie.
so it's not
So they're giving that
ensemble?
to casting directors. Like that's what they're doing. Like here's a casting director
Okay.
award.
So
Is
then
essentially what it
maybe
is.
if I had thought that, maybe I would have voted differently. Because I
Yeah,
was
like I'm
thinking
thinking
ensemble.
I'm thinking you got to look at who has the most actor nominees and just pick that movie.
And yeah,
But
who
that's
who like embodied the characters best?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That's hard
Um,
to that's a weird one.
uh, Now here's a couple things that a lot of people did get right in our Oscar pool. Best original song went to Golden from K-pop Demon
Of
Hunters.
course.
Yep, that one was a lot of people got right. Best international feature went to Sentimental Value,
Yep.
which is from Norway. Another one that got it right. Best sound went to F1. A lot of people did get that right one as well. I think F1 clearly um, is a movie about sound. And then Sinners took a bunch of behind the camera categories. We already mentioned best cinematography went to Sinners, but best original score went to Sinners as well. They got the original screenplay Oscar for Sinners. That was also written by Ryan Coogler, who is the director. So Ryan Coogler got an Oscar, which is really great to see. I think he's a great director. So they won a couple awards there, and then of course Frankenstein, makeup and hairstylings, and costume design. They won both those Oscars this year.
I think they do. Even though Frankenstein was not my favorite movie of the year, I think they do deserve costuming and makeup. And even like I thought the production, all of the production design, like the sets, like it did. You have to. This is how I feel about Del Toro. Even though it's his cinematography is like, the best way I can describe this is like grimy, even though it's like
Mm.
darker and grimier than I like my movies.
Right.
He commits to his vision, and like everything is cohesive and it makes sense. And so, yeah, I think they definitely deserve those awards. Sorry, Mike, did you
Yeah.
say who won Best Actor?
Yes, I did. That was Michael B. Jordan.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Who
Yeah,
played
for Sinners.
twins?
Who played twins? Yeah, I listen. Well deserved. I thought Michael B. Jordan was fantastic in Sinners. Very good performance from him. I listen. I don't disagree necessarily with any of these Oscar wins. Again, I didn't see. I feel like I didn't. I don't know One Battle After Another, and I didn't see kind of Sean Penn's performance in there. What surprised me about that was normally when two people are nominated in the same category from one movie, it splits the vote because Benicio del Toro was nominated as well.
Right.
So I just I voted for Stellan Skarsgård because that movie had a lot of buzz, and I honestly just thought, well, the vote kind of gets split
I
often when
think
that
I did the
happens.
same thing, Mike. And that
Like for
reminds
Stellan
me,
Skarsgård.
yeah, and because like you said, it split the vote. And so I thought, well, it's not going to, neither of those actors are going to win. The
Mm-hmm.
splitting reminded me, this wasn't the first year that this has happened. This has happened in the past, but it is another historic thing because it doesn't happen normally. One of the categories was tied.
Yes. I I did they say that's never happened before? Because I've
I
never.
someone said like it had someone, the internet, there was an article saying that it has happened before.
Okay,
So,
yeah. I thought so, I
do
thought I
you
heard
remember
somewhere
what
that it
category
has
it
happened.
was?
Yes, it was best live action short film.
It's
So
happened,
you got the animated, but you've also got live action shorts. It was
right.
a tie for those. Yeah.
Um 7 times the Oscars have had a tie.
7 times?
Yes, 7 times.
That's way higher than I would have thought it
Did
would.
you
I would
think
have
so?
guessed 3.
Okay,
Yeah, 7 times?
okay, number 1 best actor tied in 1932. Again, also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That movie just like swept the Oscars apparently in
Oh yeah,
1932.
that one. Yeah, that was awesome.
Best documentary short in 1950. Best actress. This is the one that like was apparently iconic that diehard movie fans knew about. Barbara Streisand and Katharine Hepburn tied in 1969. Best documentary feature in 1987. Best live action. So kind of these like I would say like weirder categories because this is best live action
Yeah.
short.
Yeah,
20
yeah. The ones, yeah. These categories are not often, or used to be at least, not often viewed by everybody. Which they've
yeah.
changed the rules where they make you have to watch the movies if you're going to vote. But yeah, that makes sense that sometimes
That
that
was in
happens.
1995 and then recently best sound editing, Skyfall and Zero Dark 30 in 2013.
I don't remember that. Wow.
And then of course the most recent being the best live action short.
Yeah,
Uh
which was the singers and and two people exchanging saliva were the two
nice.
that were tied
So
for best live action short.
So there you go, 7 times, Mike. This is again, it was a bit of a horror, the horror genre, the ties. I guess it made for an interesting Oscar year.
And what's interesting is I feel, especially because some of these categories, like you mentioned, Taylor, that aren't as well known. The thing about the Oscars that I think still they do really well is you find out things about these movies. You learn movies exist that you didn't know existed,
Yes,
and then people go seek them out. So
for sure.
best, live action short movies, neither of them are going to complain about tying for an Oscar. Because now
No.
they're both Oscar award winning movies. They're both going to get recognition for that. And you can help sell your movie and help you make your next one because of that. So no one's going to complain.
You know who was complaining though? Barbra Streisand and Katharine Hepburn,
Well,
who were
yeah.
known for being, I don't know about Katharine Hepburn, but Barbra Streisand's been known to be a diva. So I could see them not being happy they had to split the
Yep.
Oscar that year.
That's to each his own. But yeah, there you go. That's our rundown of the Oscar winners this year. Taylor, shall we look at
I'm doing my drum roll.
Our Oscar pool final standings?
Yes, please. I'm dying to know.
Well, we're going to go through this from I guess we'll maybe start at the bottom and just go all the way up to the top. And we'll just reveal. I was thinking of some clever way to do this, but
starting in the middle.
Yeah, starting in the middle and going like partially up, partially down. But I think because the problem is there's so many ties because everyone's kind of clumped in the middle as usual. That I think we'll just start from the bottom and go all the way up. We had 20 entries this year. We had a lot of ties as usual, but we do have a definitive winner. And a definitive last place, which we'll right now call the loser.
Okay.
And as usual, Taylor, we got to remind people, this is a competition. So you get something for winning, but we also give you something if you finish last. Mm-hmm. So the people who finished last, the people who finished first, you will be receiving an email from us probably in the next coming weeks. Just be patient on that. We may have to wait a few weeks to get it to you, but we will send you an email. You get to produce your own episode of this podcast. You can come on if you'd like. You can not come on the show, which is totally fine. We have no problem with that. If you don't want to come on the show, please don't feel obligated to. You can just tell us what you want us to do that episode. You can pick movies we have to review. You can pick a theme that you might want us to do. You can I don't know, Taylor, pick the co-hosts you want, anything you want, and or send us a bunch of questions. It's your hour to
have us play a game
the way you want. Have us play a game, whatever. I mean, we've had a mix. Some people have come on and done a show with us, and some people have just wrote in and said, "Here's a game. Here's a great thing." I mean, again, Austin, one of our past winners, always came up with a great game to play. So yeah, it's
just be careful because if you're really good, we're just gonna mine you for content for the next 8 years. Ella Austin.
That's right.
And Tyler
That's right.
Vance.
Ella Austin
and
Tyler
Katie.
Vance, Katie Wilson. All right. So in 20th place and last place, with 8 correct guesses, Andre Sponder. So you are last place.
Snaps to you, Andre.
In 19th place is Christopher Leese. This is a tie for sort of 18th, 19th between Christopher Leese and Oliver, who each had 9, tied for the kind of 18th, 19th spot. Then Mike, we have a big tie.
How many can you get how many are on the ballot?
24 or 26.
Okay.
24? I think it's 24. I don't have that in front of me, but yeah. And then we've got a big tie here. So with 10, these are all the people who tied with 10. Emma F., Ronald Coleman, Akil, Hugh, and Austin all tied with 10. So pretty big there. So that brings us all the way to 13th place, a solo person in 13th, which is Omar, who had 11. Then in 12th is Kathy, who had 12. Then there's a tie.
12 with 12? Kind of
12 with 12.
Champagne ballot.
Almost right in the middle. Tied for 10th is Ashley O. and Tristan, who both had 13. Then we get into kind of the top 10. Again, it's difficult with ties, but tied for the 8th, 9th spot, we have Katie with 14 and Derek with 14. And then in, I guess it would be technically 7th place with 15 is Timmy C. for the win. It's Timmy C. for the win. Timothy Chalamet fan.
Did Timothy Chalamet submit himself to our own
That'd
ballot?
be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. But probably not. And then we have a tie here for 5th place. Tied for 5th is Tayson Ingersoll with 16, and co-host Taylor
Woo!
with 16, tied for
The
fifth.
two T's.
The two T's. And Tayson, who's written in several times, fan of the show, kind of got into that top 5, so well done, Tayson. Then we have a tie for third place, and this pains me, Taylor, because I am tied.
You've never gotten top banana.
No, and I used to win this in the paper format all the time. Tied for third with 17 correct is myself and Tyler Vance. Tied for third place. In solo, second place with 18 correct is Ian. Well done, Ian. Second place. Listen, the person who won this ran away with it, Taylor. Ran away with it. 23 correct. And that is Dan M. Dan M wins this with 23 correct answers. Well done, Dan M. So for Dan and for Andre, we will be sending you an email very soon that will outline how this works. But again, you will pick how you want the episode to go. You can come on the show. You can choose not to come on the show. You can tell us exactly what you want done, a themed episode, movies you want reviewed, a book and movie club. Choose a co-host you like. Whatever you want, it'll be your episode. We'll email you those details. And Taylor, we just got to say thank you to everybody for participating again this year. It was really great to see.
I know. It's always fun when our fans participate. So thank you so much for listening and playing along with us. It's always fun to see how we do. That Dan M, Mike, that might have been one of the best years. Katie, I think, won last year, and she also had a very stacked ballot.
Around that amount, I think. Yeah. Like she only had a handful wrong. So Dan M, that's incredible. I got to double check if it's 20. I don't remember now if it's 24 or 26 categories, but still, if you only had 1 to 3 wrong, well done. Like that's really impressive.
You can we'll retire Mike and he can take over.
Yeah, that's what if you do the Oscar ballot, you win doing this show for a year. Yeah. And Taylor, I mean, I got to say, I know you, made your crack at the beginning of the episode, but you've been doing a great job hosting and carrying everything for the past couple weeks, and you only have to do this for a few more weeks, and then we'll kind of get back to normal. But it's been great. You've been doing a great job. Your co-hosts have been a lot of fun.
Thanks,
it's great
Mike.
to kind of always have Nicole and Katie on, and I listen to the episodes, so I keep track on everything you're all saying about me, and I'm making notes.
We've been saying a lot of nice things about you.
Yeah, I think it's some nice things in me.
We slip it in when my guard is down. I say the nice things about you. But anyways, Mike,
that's right.
It's been a lot of fun having you back, and I look forward to having you back after Easter. But best of luck in the final weeks before your show.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Are you gonna do your sign off, or can I go right into mine? This is like
I don't
we're
think
gonna
I
have to practice. We're gonna have to practice that.
I don't have a sign off. I say something different, and usually it's awkward and weird. So I'll just remain silent and you can sign us off.
Okay. Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Have Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.